The truth about hair growth, products and cancer, what you need to know. Have you ever looked at a bottle of hair growth serum and quietly wondered, could this be dangerous? You're not alone. Many people, especially those over 50, have turned to hair growth treatments hoping to restore not just their hair, but a little piece of their confidence too. And that's perfectly understandable. Because when our hair starts to thin or fall out, it can feel like we're losing something deeply personal. A sense of youth, a part of our identity, a visible piece of how we show up in the world. So we turn to the promises on those shiny little bottles. Clinically proven, miracle regrowth, natural and safe. But then, somewhere in a news article, a friend's warning, or a whispered comment on social media, we hear something that stops us cold. Did you know some hair growth products might cause cancer? Just like that, our hope turns into hesitation. Should we keep using it? Is it worth the risk? Are these just rumors, or something we should take seriously? The truth is, in today's world where products flood the shelves and ingredients lists grow longer and more complicated, it's natural to worry. We've all heard about toxic chemicals hiding in everyday items. We've seen the lawsuits, the recalls, the shocking reports. But when it comes to hair growth treatments, what's real and what's not? That's exactly what we're here to uncover. We're going to take a gentle but honest look at the science, the ingredients, and the risks behind some of the most popular hair regrowth options today. We'll also talk about the difference between medically approved solutions and unregulated products you might find online or from unknown brands. Because when it comes to your health, especially as we age, you deserve clarity, not confusion. So take a breath, settle in, and let's explore the facts together. Your peace of mind is worth it, and your safety always comes first. Why people fear hair growth products, and where that fear comes from. Let's start with where the fear truly begins. Because fear doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It often comes from a mix of personal stories, misunderstood science, and a world that changes faster than we can keep up with. For many people, the concern around hair growth products and cancer started with whispers, news articles, scattered studies, or someone saying, "I heard that can be dangerous." And when you hear something like that enough times, it sticks. You begin to second-guess the products in your cabinet. You wonder if the promise of hair regrowth is hiding a darker side. It doesn't help that some companies have marketed these treatments without full transparency, or that certain ingredients, when looked at under a microscope, have raised eyebrows in the scientific community. Let's take a closer look at that. One of the most common ingredients in hair growth products is minoxidil. It's been around for decades. It's approved by the FDA. It works by improving blood flow to the scalp and reawakening dormant hair follicles. It's used topically, meaning you apply it to your scalp, not ingest it, and is generally considered safe when used as directed. But like any medication, it's not without side effects. Some users report irritation, itching, or temporary shedding before regrowth begins. Rarely, in highly sensitive individuals, minoxidil might affect blood pressure or heart rate. But cancer. There's no solid evidence linking minoxidil directly to cancer. What about finasteride? This one is taken as a pill and works differently. It targets a hormone called DHT, which contributes to hair loss in men. There have been questions raised about finasteride and prostate health. Some studies suggested it might increase the risk of detecting low-grade prostate cancer. Others showed it might reduce the risk of high-grade tumors. The science is still debated, but again, these effects are specific, rare, and tied to long-term high-dose use, not casual or short-term hair restoration. Then there are the over-the-counter serums, oils, and sprays, especially the ones that call themselves natural. This is where things can get murky. Because natural doesn't always mean safe. Some unregulated products may contain hidden steroids, preservatives like formaldehyde or coal tar derivatives, ingredients flagged by researchers for potential long-term health risks, including possible links to cancer. The real danger lies not in the well-studied, approved medications, but in unlabeled, untested formulas sold through unofficial channels or social media ads with no regulation. That's where fear is justified. That's where caution matters. And that's where we need to pay close attention, because when it comes to your health, the label should never be a mystery. How to tell if a hair growth product is safe and what to avoid. Now that we've looked at where the fear comes from, let's talk about how you can actually protect yourself. Because the truth is, not every bottle on the shelf or ad on the internet deserves your trust. And when it comes to something as personal as your scalp and your long-term health, knowing how to read the signs can make all the difference. The first thing to look at is the label. It sounds simple, but so many of us skip this step. We're drawn to the promises on the front: miracle cure, overnight growth, all natural ingredients. But the truth is found on the back. That's where the ingredients live. And if a product doesn't clearly list what's inside it, that's your first red flag. Avoid anything that hides behind phrases like proprietary blend or vague terms like botanical complex without full disclosure. Transparency is key. Look for products that proudly state what's in them and what's not. No parabens, no sulfates, no synthetic fragrances or formaldehyde. Speaking of ingredients, here are a few to be cautious of. Formaldehyde, a known carcinogen sometimes used in hair straightening treatments and poorly regulated products. Coal tar, sometimes found in dandruff shampoos or scalp treatments. It has potential cancer risks with prolonged exposure. Parabens and phthalates, preservatives that can disrupt hormones, especially when used over time. Now, that doesn't mean you need to panic if you've used something once or twice. What matters is long-term exposure, especially without supervision or knowledge of what's really going into your skin. Next, think about where you're buying your product. Did it come from a trusted pharmacy? A doctor's office? A reputable online store? Or was it an Instagram ad with no reviews, no website, and no real return policy? The truth is, counterfeit and unregulated hair products have flooded online platforms. Some of them even copy the packaging of real approved brands, but inside they're full of cheap fillers or dangerous chemicals. If the price seems too good to be true, it probably is. Another sign to watch for. Wild claims. Hair doesn't grow back overnight. No product can regrow a full head of hair in a week. Be wary of anything that promises fast, unrealistic results without clinical trials or real data. And finally, listen to your body. Even if a product is technically safe, it might not be safe for you. If you notice burning, itching, rashes, headaches, or changes in your overall health after starting a new hair treatment, stop using it and talk to your doctor. Pay attention to how your scalp feels. Check for changes over time. Trust your instincts, because your body is always trying to tell you something, and you deserve to feel confident, not just in your appearance, but in the choices you make for your health. So take your time, read the fine print, do a little research before you apply something to your skin every single day. The right product is out there, and when you find it, you'll feel the difference, not just on your head, but in your peace of mind. Are natural alternatives worth it? What science and tradition say? So what about natural solutions? Are they worth trying? Can they truly compete with medical treatments, or are they just another trend? Let's take a calm, honest look. For centuries, people around the world have used plants, oils, and herbs to care for their hair. Long before the first lab-made serum, grandmothers were massaging coconut oil into their scalps. Ancient remedies like rosemary, amla, castor oil, and peppermint weren't just about beauty. They were part of a deeper rhythm of self-care. And now modern science is starting to catch up with what tradition already knew. Let's take rosemary oil, for example. Studies have shown that rosemary oil can increase blood circulation to the scalp, very similar to how minoxidil works. In fact, one clinical study even found that after 6 months, rosemary oil performed just as well as minoxidil 2% in improving hair count, with fewer side effects. That's impressive. Then there's castor oil. Rich in ricinoleic acid, it's known for its anti-inflammatory and moisturizing properties. While there's less hard data, many people report stronger, shinier hair and reduced breakage with consistent use. It also creates a thick coating on the hair strand, which can protect it from dryness and environmental damage. Another natural favorite is peppermint oil. It creates a cooling sensation and may help stimulate hair follicles. In animal studies, it showed promising effects on hair growth, though more human research is needed before we can say for sure. Still, many people love the way it invigorates their scalp and adds a refreshing note to their routine. What about diet and supplements? That's another area where natural support shines. Nutrients like biotin, zinc, iron, and vitamin D play a huge role in hair strength and growth. If your hair loss is related to deficiencies, improving your nutrition can make a visible difference. Even herbs like saw palmetto, which is sometimes taken as a natural alternative to finasteride, are being studied for their hormone balancing effects. Now let's be clear, natural doesn't mean magical. These ingredients work gradually. They won't regrow hair overnight, and they might not work for every type of hair loss, especially if it's genetic or hormonal. But they do have their place. They can complement medical treatments. They can nourish your scalp, and they often come without the harsh side effects of synthetic chemicals. Of course, even natural products should be used with care. Always test a small patch of skin before applying anything new, and make sure you're using pure, high-quality oils, not synthetic blends diluted with fillers or alcohol. The key is balance. You don't have to choose between science and nature. You can have both. A good hair care routine might include an FDA-approved treatment and a soothing weekly scalp massage with rosemary oil. Or perhaps you skip the pharmaceuticals entirely and focus on nutrition, gentle oils, and stress reduction. Whatever path you choose, it should feel right for your body, your values, and your lifestyle. Because real care is never just about appearance. It's about feeling good in your skin and doing it with peace, patience, and purpose. What experts say, the medical perspective on hair growth and cancer risk. When it comes to health and safety, we all want answers we can trust. Not guesses, not gossip, not fear-based headlines that leave us more confused than before. We want to know what real doctors and scientists have to say, especially about something as serious as cancer risk. So let's step away from the noise for a moment and step into what medical professionals actually know. First, it's important to understand how cancer research works. Just because a product contains a certain chemical doesn't automatically mean it causes cancer. Scientists look at dosage. They look at how long you're exposed. They study whether that chemical builds up in the body or passes through, and they examine what happens when it's applied on skin, inhaled, or ingested. For a substance to be labeled carcinogenic, it usually needs strong, consistent evidence across many studies, often over years or even decades. So far, most approved hair growth medications like Minoxidil and Finasteride do not meet that standard. Let's start with Minoxidil. This medication was originally developed to treat high blood pressure. But when patients noticed unexpected hair growth as a side effect, researchers realized it had a new potential. It was reformulated as a topical solution and approved by the FDA to treat hair loss. According to dermatologists, Minoxidil remains one of the most effective and safest over-the-counter hair loss treatments available. There's no credible link between Minoxidil and cancer when used as directed. The most common side effects are local skin irritation, dryness, or mild shedding when you first begin. And those symptoms usually fade as your scalp adjusts. Now let's talk about Finasteride. This medication is more often used by men. It works by blocking a hormone called DHT, which plays a key role in male pattern baldness. Because it alters hormone levels, it's only available by prescription, and some people do worry about long-term use. Years ago, a few studies raised concerns that finasteride might slightly increase the chance of detecting low-grade prostate cancer. However, further research found that it may actually reduce the risk of aggressive forms of prostate cancer. Today, most urologists agree that when prescribed appropriately, the benefits outweigh the risks for many patients. But that doesn't mean it's right for everyone. That's why it's so important to speak with a doctor who understands your overall health, not just your hair goals. And what about all the over-the-counter products that call themselves natural or herbal? Here's where things get tricky. While some of these can be effective, like rosemary oil or caffeine-based serums, Others may contain undisclosed ingredients, corticosteroids, or even banned chemicals not listed on the label. Some so-called herbal tonics have been found to contain lead, arsenic, or formaldehyde in alarming quantities, especially when imported from unknown sources or made without regulation. This is where doctors and toxicologists raise serious red flags, because the real danger isn't always what's written on the label, it's what's not. That's why professionals urge you to be cautious with anything that seems too good to be true or lacks full transparency. So what's the expert advice? Here's what doctors consistently recommend. First, get a proper diagnosis. Not all hair loss is the same. It can be caused by genetics, stress, hormonal imbalance, medication side effects, or underlying health conditions. Treating the wrong cause with the wrong product is not only ineffective, it can make things worse. Second, choose treatments that are FDA approved or recommended by board-certified dermatologists. These have been tested for safety and effectiveness in real people, not just in theory. Third, use products exactly as directed. More is not always better, and combining treatments without guidance can lead to irritation or unexpected side effects. Finally, stay informed, but don't panic. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by scary headlines. But the truth is, most hair growth products, when used wisely and bought from reputable sources, are not dangerous. They're simply tools. And like any tool, their safety depends on how they're used. So now you've heard the science, you've seen the facts, you've looked at the fears, the products, the risks, and the truths. And maybe, just maybe, you're feeling a little clearer than you did before. Because here's the thing, we live in a world full of choices, and sometimes those choices feel overwhelming. Especially when it comes to something as personal as hair. Because hair is more than just hair. It's memory. It's identity. It's confidence. It's a part of the way we see ourselves when we look in the mirror each morning. So when hair starts to thin, when it falls out in the shower, when your part widens, your ponytail shrinks, or your scalp peeks through under harsh light, it's not just physical. It touches something deeper. And that's why so many people, especially women over 50, turn to hair growth products. Not out of vanity, but out of a quiet longing to feel like themselves again, to feel whole, to feel visible, to feel beautiful. And that desire, it's not something to apologize for. It's something to honor. You deserve to feel good about yourself, inside and out. But you also deserve to feel safe, to know that what you're putting on your body, or in your body, won't harm you in the long run. That's why this conversation matters. Because fear thrives in silence. And when we don't talk about the ingredients in our products, when we don't ask questions, when we just accept the label at face value, that's when mistakes happen. But now you know better. You know how to read a label. You know the difference between an FDA-approved treatment and a mystery serum from an unverified website. You understand that not all natural products are safe. And not all medical treatments are dangerous. You understand that context matters, that science matters, that your individual body matters. And that's a powerful place to be. So where do you go from here? Maybe you'll choose to use Minoxidil with confidence because you now know its safety record. Maybe you'll speak with your doctor about Finasteride and ask the questions you were once too nervous to ask. Or maybe you'll begin a new routine of weekly scalp massages with rosemary oil and nourishing your hair through nutrition and rest. Whatever path you take, make it yours. Let it be rooted in informed choice, not fear. Let it be slow, steady, and sustainable. Because hair doesn't grow in a day, and neither does trust. But when you build both with care, something beautiful happens. You start to feel in control again. You stop looking at your hair with frustration and start seeing it with kindness. You stop obsessing over every strand lost and start celebrating every small sign of growth. Because this journey isn't just about regrowing hair. It's about reclaiming confidence. It's about learning to care for yourself from a place of respect, not pressure. And most of all, it's about finding peace with wherever you are right now. Maybe your hair will grow back fuller than ever. maybe it won't. But your worth, your presence, your grace, that was never in question, and it never will be. Because beauty after 50 doesn't come from chasing the past. It comes from embracing the present, from knowing who you are, from treating yourself with the same gentleness you give to others. So if you're standing in front of the mirror today, worried about your scalp, holding a bottle you're not sure you should use, take a breath. You are not alone, and you have options. Safe ones, smart ones that honor both your health and your hope. Do your research, ask questions, consult experts. And then when you're ready, take the next step, not because you're afraid, but because you're empowered. Because you deserve to feel good, to look good, to be well, truly well from the inside out. That's what this journey is about. Not just hair, but healing. Not just results, but self-respect. And if you found this message helpful, if it gave you clarity or comfort or just a quiet moment of peace, share it with someone who might need it too. Because we're all in this together. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can offer is simply the truth, wrapped in care, delivered with love, and spoken with the hope that no matter what, you'll always choose yourself first.